Hey, Michael.
Hello.
Hello. Well, listen, there's a really kind of cool thing I want to explore with you, because this is something that you coached me with. This is a principle that's probably had the most profound effect in my life of any of the therapies or self-help techniques that I've done. So whether it's hypnosis or NLP or positive thinking, thought. And the principle of thought has had the most profound effect in me.
It's cool, isn't it?
Unbelievably cool, because
I know, I like
I
it.
remember when we did this, and it was maybe just a little under a year ago.
Yeah.
And you spoke to me. We were speaking on the phone, and you spoke for about half an hour about stuff, about thought,
Yeah.
and I kind of go, oh yeah, that sort of makes sense. And about 3 days later, I remember emailing you saying, "What did you do to me?
Yeah.
What cunning mind trick did you use? Explain it, oh master, teach me."
Yeah.
And you said, "Well, nothing.
Yeah.
It's just about thought." Can you explain?
Yeah, because
how that works?
it is. It's an interesting thing. I mean, if we were having this conversation a few thousand years ago, I would be borrowing my friend Plato's analogy, the allegory of the cave, where he said that imagine that you've got a group of people, and they're all looking at the wall of a cave, and there's the sun is behind them. So on the cave are all the shadows being projected, and that's what they think the world is. They think the world is all those shadows on the wall, and if one person turns away towards the light, well, the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to start to go blind, because they're not used to looking that way. But as their eyes adjust to the light, they'll suddenly understand what's going on, and that the real world is there, and that's just an illusion. That's just a reflection, a shadow. And if they go back, even though they totally get it, they'll go back and tell everybody, those are just shadows. You don't have to worry about that scary shadow, because it's just a shadow. And we'll go, "You're nuts, man. Shut up." But because it's not a few thousand years ago, let's talk about the movies.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to the movies and you go to a scary movie and you get to the bit where the pretty blonde girl is about to go alone down the stairs because she heard a noise, and she's got a flashlight, but when she goes to turn it on, it kind of flickers, but she decides to go down anyways because, that's what you do. And the music's getting louder, and you're there, and all of a sudden, right next to you, somebody's cell phone goes off, and it's playing one of those little pop tunes, da, 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 da. And it's like, no matter how much you want to, you can't get scared again in the same way. And it's exactly the same thing in our minds. The world is what you think it is. That's the principle of thought. That whatever you think gets projected out into the world, and that then becomes your experience. You, in a way, one of the things that I'll often say is you're never scared of what you think you're scared of. You're scared of what you think.
Yes.
And so what happens, if you think about it, if you don't like what's going on in a movie and you want to change it, you're not going to do it by having an argument with the people on the screen. You're going to go back up to the projection booth, and you're going to notice something. You're going to notice the reason that you can even see a movie is there's a projector, and that projector is like your consciousness, your awareness. If you didn't have any consciousness, if you were unconscious, there wouldn't be an experience. But you've got a consciousness, and your consciousness doesn't care what you stick in front of the light. Whatever you stick, that's what it's going to show. And if you stick something scary, so if you have a scary thought, you'll feel fear. If you stick something funny, you'll laugh. If you stick, and if you just like hooked an EEG machine up to someone on a park bench, in an hour you'd think they'd been through a war, through all the different things they'd gone through, but they were all just reactions to those thoughts. The screen doesn't care what you put on it. It's just whatever film you put on. The film doesn't care what's on it. The thoughts, they're just going to run in front of the image. And so when you start to see that the entire experience, I'm not saying there's nothing out there, just that your experience of it is entirely constructed from the way that you're thinking, being reflected by your consciousness. And of course, there's the energy of life. There's whatever energy it is that keeps us all going, that powers it. That's like the power cable for the projector.
Sure.
And just understanding those three things, the reason that a lot of people have the experience you have of going, well, that's very interesting, but is that at some point, and I never can quite pinpoint when it will be, people just see it.
Yeah.
They'll be in a situation and they'll be thinking, oh God, this is terrible, this is awful, and they'll go, oh my gosh, that's just a thought.
Yeah.
I'm just reacting to a thought. And in the same way as once that cell phone, the mobile phone goes off, you can't get back to believing that that is a real thing. Same thing happens with your life. You start going, wow, all these problems, they're just a movie.
And that was exactly my experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot about this in the book, but my experience of it was that in contrast to a lot of therapies, NLP or hypnosis, the change often doesn't happen in the session.
Yeah.
It happens 3 days later, or it happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, or it happens walking to the bus.
Well, I was going to say, I think I actually use that metaphor with you, is that I can take people to the bus stop and I can even keep them at the bus stop, but I don't seem to be able to kind of make the bus come when I want.
Sure.
And that's the thing, is people just have insights. They just suddenly go, oh, I get it. And once you do, you can never unget it.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing. You don't have to do anything different, because you just naturally will do things differently once you see them differently.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michael.
Very cool.
It's yeah, it's a bit like a bubble coming to the surface, and once that bubble bursts, once it pops, you can never push it back under again.